Good evening, my dear students. As you know that due to the lockdown, we cannot conduct class physically. So I am going to create a video lecture for you for the course Computer Network. And so far, I think me and Samir sir together we have covered data link layer and network layer. Today I am going to start transport layer. As you know that there are multiple responsibility of transport layer already we have discussed in the class, and one of the responsibility of transport layer is end-to-end delivery. And for end-to-end delivery there are two types of transport protocol as responsible. One of the protocol is TCP and another is UDP. First we will start TCP protocol. So look at this screen. Here we have TCP header. TCP header having total 7 rows. In these 7 rows, first row contains source port and destination port, and second row having sequence number, third row having acknowledgement number, fourth row first part is header length. Some of the bits are reserved. Then there are 6 flag: URG flag, ACK flag, PSH flag, RST flag, SYN flag and FIN flag. And then we have window size or advertisement window. Then in fifth row we have checksum and urgent pointer, and then we have option field, and then followed by your data or payload. So let's see the total size of header and all. So if you'll see in first row, the source port and destination port each having 16 bit. Then sequence number having 32 bit field, acknowledgement number again having 32 bit field. Then header length, it is a 4 bit field. Then 6 bits are reserved for the future use. As of now, whenever we start communication, we put simply 00. Then URG is urgent flag, ACK is acknowledgement flag, PSH is push flag, RST reset flag, SYN is synchronized flag, FIN is final flag. So final, these are the 1 bit flags. So there is a difference between acknowledgement number and ACK flag. Acknowledgement number is 32 bit field, ACK is 1 bit flag. Then window size means advertisement window, and window size is total window size or buffer size, you can say, while communication. Start the communication. Next is checksum, and checksum already we have this error control method at transport layer, it is 16 bit field. And finally urgent pointer is 16 bit field. And if you see this, each row we are talking about bits. So 16 bits, 16 total 32 bits. So each row having 4 bytes. So now all the 5 rows having 4 byte, 4 byte, 4 byte, 4 byte, 4 byte. So total is 20 bytes. So minimum header size is 20 bytes. And then we have option field which is 0 to 40 bytes. So now minimum header size should be, which is compulsory. These 20 bytes are compulsory, and remaining up to 40 bytes you can optionally you can add it. So your header size is minimum is 20 and maximum can be up to 60 bytes, followed by your data which is payload. Okay, so now TCP is responsible for end-to-end delivery, as you know that. So now let us start all the fields one by one. So first field is port number. That port number having two fields. One is source port number, another is destination port number. Here you can see this port number is a 16 bit field, and using this 16 bit, maximum port number can be 2 to the power 16. So we can represent 2 to the power 16 is nothing but 0, 2 to the power 16 minus 1. So this is the range of the port number. So 0, 65,535. This is the range of maximum port number can be. Now what is the use of port number here? So as you know that transport layer is responsible for end-to-end delivery. So now suppose sender having multiple means at the background in one host having multiple process. So they are not responsible for only one process. So it's generally used for multiplexing and demultiplexing. So mainly your port number is useful for multiplexing, demultiplexing. At the sender side, maybe multiple process want to communicate with another process. So in that case, it's a multiplexing, means many to one. At the receiver side, one which will be transferred to the multiple host, that is one to many. So inside a host, n number of processes are working at the same time, and if a host receive a message to deliver appropriately, port number is required. That's what here port number is useful when you are going for end-to-end or process-to-process delivery. Now you can see this port number is mainly used for, as already I said, that multiplexing and demultiplexing, and TCP is an end-to-end protocol, so because it contains port number, and multiplexing and demultiplexing of packet to distributed properly. Now you can see this total number of ports are 0265535. Among these port number, there are three categories. It can be classified into three class. So first class is well-known class. Like, as you know that there are some well-known phone number like 108 for ambulance, 100 for police, and so on. So there are some well-known number which you need not to remember, or it will be automatically, it will be fitted in your SIM. And also similarly in computer network, this well-known services, so for well-known services port number is fixed. So first 0 to 1023 is port number. This range of the port number is called well-known port number. For example, suppose you want to download a file, then well-known port number will be 21. That 21 port number is for FTP service. Then suppose you want to send a mail, for that well-known port number is 25, that is for SMTP. If you want to browse a file, and for that well-known port number is 80 for HTTP. So similarly many port numbers are fixed, so it is well known. Second range of port number from 1024 to 49151 is reserved. So this is reserved, means in future if suppose any new services want to become well-known service, for that we can assign these many port numbers. And finally 491522 to 65535 are general port number. So general port number means whenever you want to communicate, so source port number and destination port number. Destination port number is, many times destination port number is well known, but source port number will be assigned by your operating system, and operating system by default they will pick any random port number from general purpose port number, which is 49152 to 65535. If you want to check your port services and all, you can type netstat at your browser. You will get your network statistics, what is your source port number, what is destination port number and all. Okay, so now second thing, I want to explain why this port number is important for end-to-end delivery. As you know that TCP is connection oriented protocol. So what is meaning of connection oriented protocol? Connection oriented means, suppose sender, this is a sender A, want to communicate with Google, which is host G. Now so if they want to communicate, so in that maybe there is one process, and here also there is a process where Google server is there. Okay, so now this host, this process to this process, they want to communicate. So for communication, so if it is connection oriented, means they will reserve three things: CPU reservation, bandwidth reservation, and buffer reservation. So every connection there should be a reserved buffer. So this is the buffer sorry, I need to draw once again. So this is a sender A, this is sender receiver Google. Now this is one process, this server process. Now suppose this sender A wants to communicate to receiver G. So now in that, as I said that TCP is connection oriented, so they will reserve CPU bandwidth and buffer. So this is the reserved bandwidth. Now in this bandwidth buffer, this is reserved buffer. Now suppose operating system has given source port number is X and destination port number is well known, it is 80. Okay, so it is 80. Now you can understand it. Now whenever source will communicate using X to 80, so what this buffer will store? This buffer will store X colon 80. Okay, now everything is fine. Now what happens if there is another host B which also having some process, and they also want to communicate with Google, and it may so happen this B also having port number X. Now this one also wants to communicate with this Google. So now there will be one buffer here, and this buffer also having X to 80, because now within one host two process should not having same port number, but two different hosts same port number is possible. So now in this case you can see this, how this destination, how they will store, in which buffer they will store information, because both are same X to 80 and here X to 80. So this is ambiguous situation. Okay, so now assume that instead of this port number, suppose I have taken IP address. So for this A, there is IP address is IA. Okay, and for Google there is IP address IG, and for B there is IP address IB. Okay, so now in this case, if A wants to communicate with G, that is HTTP Google, in that case they will store IA colon IG, and in this case it is IB colon IG. So now both are unique, so it will work. Now what happens if within same host, in this host A only, there is one more process, and this process having IP address, sorry, port number Y. Okay, this port number is Y, and they want to communicate with Google only. Now in this case there will be again reserved bandwidth, and this bandwidth will store, because within same host IP address will be common. So IP address will be IA and host will be this destination IP address will be IG. Now in this case, which one buffer will be filled? Because here is IA and IG, here also IA and IG. So it means one thing was sure, alone port number was not sufficient to identify the connection. Now here, if I'll go for alone IP address, again it is not sufficient, because see this, here IA, here ambiguity happen. So now to resolve such kind of problems, we have to use combination of IP address and port number. So in that case, we'll use, so in that case we'll use IP address of 32 bits plus port number 16 bit. So total is 48 bits, and this 48 bits is called socket. So this is called socket. So now to identify a connection uniquely, we require socket, and socket is nothing but a combination of IP address and port number. So now this is socket is 48-bit number. Now you can see this using socket in the previous diagram, whether both, if suppose two port number are same, definitely two port number will be same, their IP address will be different. Okay, two port number are same means there are two different hosts, so definitely different host having different IP address. If suppose two IP address are same, definitely within one host we cannot have same port number. So likewise we can uniquely identify the connection. So that's what port number is important along with IP address. IP address already we have studied at network layer. So IP address is responsible for host to host connection. Now in over IP address we have port number. Now port number is responsible for end to end connection or process to process connection. Okay. Okay, so next field of the TCP header is sequence number. Can you see this diagram? Whenever we discuss this diagram, please keep handy all this diagram, because this diagram is very important, your header diagram, and this sequence number is very important. So keep this sequence number along, keep this diagram along with you. So now as you know that sequence number and acknowledgement number both are 32 bits field, and TCP is byte stream protocol. What is meaning of byte stream protocol? Byte stream protocol means counting every byte while transferring data. So every byte come from application layer to transport layer, we are put a sequence number on that. That is called byte stream. So TCP protocol is byte stream, where data transfer in bytes and every byte will be counted. As you know that IP is packet stream. So IP is packet stream, where identifying number is already in fragmentation we have seen that there is identification number. So every identification number we can count, this is one packet, another packet, like that. And at data link layer there is a protocol HDLC, high definition logic control, which is not in your syllabus. Here you can see this DLL is bit stream, where each and every bit is counted. So now TCP, we are talking about TCP. So TCP is byte stream. So what is meaning of byte stream? As you know that already I have discussed, the data unit at transport layer is segment. So in a segment at transport layer, suppose see one example here, there is a data followed by their header at transport layer. So suppose there are some bytes, we can see in this diagram, in this vertical line there are some data part, and before this there is some header part. In this header, suppose we have byte start with 100 up to 150. So total 151 bytes are there in this data field. So the sequence number of the first byte of stream in header. So at in the header part, in the sequence number, you need to put the first byte of the byte stream. So here first byte of byte stream is 100. So from which count will start? So starting count of the data part is your sequence number, and acknowledgement number is the next byte which we are expecting. So next sequence number which we are expecting. In this case, up to 150 we have transferred. So next receiver will expect from 151. So this 151 is nothing but acknowledgement number. So now sender will say that, okay, I have already received data from 100 to 150. Now please send me data which is start with 151. So sequence number is the first sequence number of the first byte in your byte stream. From this diagram it is clear here. Now next question is how to calculate this acknowledgement number. As you can see this, to calculate acknowledgement number, I need to know what is the last byte of the data part. In header there is sequence number is present, and sequence number deals with what is the first byte of the data, but there is no information about last byte of data. If we know the last byte of data, we can add one and we'll get that acknowledgement number. But here I don't have. There is another option. If I have total length, if I have the total length of the segment minus, as you know that we can see in the fourth row, first part there is header length. So if you subtract header length from total length and then we'll add one, then we'll get acknowledgement number. But unfortunately in your header part there is no field called total segment length. So in the absence of total segment length, how we can calculate acknowledgement number? That is the most important question. So for that, if you see the IP header, there is a field called IP total length, which is not available in TCP header. So in this case, we'll take help of total length, we'll take help of IP total length in order to calculate total length in segment. So I know that every segment will go through datagrams. So in the datagram, if you see this diagram, this is the complete datagram. Inside the datagram there is a segment. Okay, so datagram having two fields. One is IP header field and another is IP total length. If you subtract IP total length minus IP header length, you will get the segment length, or segment length. And from this segment length, now you can easily subtract this segment header or TCP header, and then you will get the total payload of the segment. So likewise we need to calculate the acknowledgement number. So acknowledgement number is the next byte expected by the receiver. Hope so everyone is getting this one. So sequence number field is 32-bit field long. Now let's see this, more focus on sequence number field. Now as we know that sequence number is 32-bit field and total number possible in sequence number is 0 to 2 to the power 32 minus 1. So this is the range, total number of possible in sequence number. If you start a sequence number with 0, if you start with sequence number of 0, then it is problem, then there one problem will occur. So what kind of problem will occur? Let's see this one example here. So generally sequence number doesn't start every time with 0. If you will start with 0, there will be serious problem occur. Let's see one example here. Suppose there is a sender S, there is receiver R. this is R. Try to understand this. Okay, now suppose if there is some byte stream which I need to send it. So now what will be the sequence number? So as you know that I told you sequence number should not start by 0. So let's start from 0 and then we'll calculate why should not start with 0. So now when this S will transmit one packet, sequence number field will be 0. Now 0 up to, it will be suppose up to 99, from 0 to 99. So next time suppose we need to send multiple packets, so in that case next sequence number will be 100, because next packet is 100, so next sequence number will be 100. Now next time 100, again we need to send one more packet with same size, so next sequence number will be 200. And similarly, so suppose second packet is start with 100 to 199, and then third packet will be 200 to 299. Now in this case, suppose this second packet we'll assume that it is lost, and after timeout timer will send same packet once again, and after that this connection will be terminated. So this connection is terminated. Now what happened? After some time, not very long gap, after some time, and in this case suppose IP address is IS and IR, port number is X and Y, likewise you can just assume this. So after that once again they were going to once again start communication between same, even though internet uses DHCP protocol, but as soon your internet is there, same host having same IP address every time, until unless you will terminate that internet connection. Maybe after termination you will get new IP address, by that time your IP address will be same. Okay, and you can assume that next time also your port number is X only, right? So now once again they start communication, and again they will start with sequence number 0. In this case they will send first packet, again it is range is 0 to 99, so sequence number will be 0, so 0 to 99 total length of the segment, and second packet will be again sequence number is 100 to 199. Now suppose when we are sending this 100 to 99, assume that in the previous connection that sequence number 100 was not lost, it was delayed, and in that case maybe you just assume that this packet suddenly appears here, and now we have one buffer. This buffer already we have two duplicate packets. Now how receiver will assume that in which packet they will store in this buffer? There is ambiguity, and there is no way to resolve such kind of problem, and that is the major issue if you will go for sequence number 0 every time. So in computer network TCP uses random initial sequence number. So in TCP they will not go for every time 0, they will go for random initial sequence number, and by using this somehow we can survive this, because in random initial sequence number for every connection the start of the sequence number will be random number. So maybe first time it was 0, second time maybe something 100, next time maybe 10,000, 5,000, likewise So in this case we can survive. It is not 100% correct method, but at least we can survive because the collision chances are very less. It is 1 upon 2 to the power 32, and this probability value is very less of the collision. So that's what we'll survive it, and this TCP doesn't start every time with 0. So that's all in this video. In the next video we'll continue this in the subsequent video. Thank you.